Hello and welcome once again to Beatle University. I am Professor Moptop, and as we continue to learn about every Beatles song of all, today we head back to side 4 of the White Album to learn about a Lennon song that in the end is just a nice little fairy tale. As we have discussed in the past, the Beatles took inspiration from all sorts of seemingly unusual subjects to write songs, and they rarely left an idea that they thought was worthy go unhatched. They also took an extended getaway to India and a lot of drugs, and Cry Baby Cry demonstrates how all of these elements combined together to create another unique Beatlesque sounding song.
At 12 o'clock a meeting round a table for a seance in the dark, with voices out of nowhere put on specially by the children for a lark.
Lewis Carroll was an English writer, scientist, and mathematician who would use a lot of made-up and nonsense words in his writings, telling stories with a clever combination of phrases that Lennon was highly influenced by. This wordplay would be heard in several of Lennon's songs, most notably Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and I Am the Walrus, where we can hear some very Carroll-esque sounding phrases. With Cry Baby Cry, John decided to write a more specific story in his own right. Beginning in late '67, Lennon described a song he was trying to write at the piano to biographer Hunter Davies, but all he had was, "Cry Baby Cry, make your mother buy." He said he got it from an advertisement that he heard on the telly. He went on to say that he had to let it go for now, but if he really wanted it, he'd return to it later. At his home studio, Lennon would record several very rough demos of an early incarnation of the song. Around the same time, he seems to have been trying to write Across the Universe. The following February, the Beatles left for India. John would spend about 6 weeks there. After they returned, the song was demoed along with all the others, just before the official White Album sessions got underway on May 30th.
The King of Marigold was in the kitchen cooking breakfast for the Queen. The Queen was in the parlor playing piano for the children of the King.
While spending his days meditating, relaxing, and playing his acoustic guitar, John bonded with Donovan, who had a bit of a nursery rhyme feel to some of his songs.
Once in a town in the Black Forest, a little white toy shop stood, and a little tin soldier with only one leg lived in a castle of wood.
Little Tin Soldiers from Donovan's 1965 fairy tale album was based on The Steadfast Tin Soldier, a fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen from the 1830s.
Then one day, sadness came, the tiny ballerina was sold. The little tin soldier was thrown away, and into the gutter he rolled.
After trading musical vibes with Donovan, Lennon was inspired to do something similar as he completed the lyrics to his own mythical tale. There's an old nursery rhyme called Sing a Song of Sixpence. You know it, it's the 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie one. And it dates back to the 1700s, and it's so old that nobody's really sure who came up with it in the first place. However, in a lot of versions, the lyrics go like this. The king was in his counting house, counting all his money. The queen was in the parlor, eating bread and honey. The king and the queen were likely taken from the poem, directly lifting the line about the queen in the parlor, and then Lennon just made up the Duchess and the Duke and the children and the land of Marigold. Kirkcaldy, however, is an actual place in Scotland that the Beatles played in October of '63. And there's an old English playground rhyme that John may or may not have known about. It goes, "Cry, baby, cry, put your finger in your eye, and tell your mother it wasn't I." In Lennon's song, the king cooks breakfast for the queen as the queen plays piano for the children of the king. It would seem as if those would also be the queen's children, but that just may be John's clever wordplay at play. The king picks flowers, the queen paints pictures, and then the Duchess of Kirkcaldy arrives late for tea. The Duke, presumably also of Kirkcaldy, was having trouble with a message at the local bird and bee.
The Duchess of Kirkcaldy, always smiling and arriving late for tea. The Duke was having problems with a message at the local bird and bee.
While unsupported by the lyrics, it is widely speculated that the local bird and bee refers to a local tavern. The message, however, is unclear, and it becomes even more unclearer with the seance in the final verse. This all may just be being for the benefit of the kids of the king and the queen, possibly heirs to the throne of Kirkcaldy, but it's all very hazy. An imaginative and curious-sounding Lennon song, brought together by several different forces and some great inspiration. After spending several months trying to work out the kinks of the song, it was demoed and the arrangement was relatively arranged. Then it was about 6 weeks before it would get recorded during the White Album sessions. And the next time we meet, we'll talk about the stressful recording sessions for Cry Baby Cry. Until then, class dismissed! I am Professor Moptop.
1, 2, 3, 4.
A Moptop production.
Very good.